The City on the Edge of Forever is Star Trek the original series' most celebrated episode. It was over budget, there were disagreements about the script, the shooting schedule, the set design, and the irresponsible use of profanity. But we're not here to discuss what went wrong. We're here for everything that went right with The City on the Edge of Forever. Originally aired on April 6, 1967, it was directed by Joseph Pevney, with writing credits given to Harlan Ellison. Many time travel stories follow the same formula. There's a problem, the time travel scheme reverses the problem. You see this in Back to the Future, save Doc Brown's life. Superman, save Lois Lane's life. Even Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, save the whales. But here, time travel is the problem. And I realize Kirk discussed going into the past, just far enough to prevent McCoy's accident. But the key is, they didn't do that. Instead, a delusional McCoy jumps back to the 1930s to escape killers and assassins. Kirk and Spock have no choice but to follow McCoy and restore the past and their present. For some reason, I feel this is more intriguing. Let's talk about the Guardian. This wasn't the original vision, but I'm a fan of it. It's ambiguous and forgotten to time. I never took the Roman columns as remnants of a city the contraption was located in the middle of. Rather, they're trophies from other worlds and time, like emptying a vacuum cleaner and dropping debris originating from other places. It symbolizes technology, creative magic, that's beyond even a Vulcan's understanding and keeps us from asking too many questions. When the episode was aired in the late 60s, a whole generation was still alive and remembered the Depression era too well, and the little time the episode had portrayed the mood and desperation. You'll see food lines, soup kitchens, empty businesses. Still, the people held to their dignity. They aimed to dress well, but I want to point out the lived-in look. Star Trek sets were always sterile. The walls, floors, furniture, they were clean and spotless. It was refreshing, it was believable to see a worn-down flop, a basement filled with furniture placed here and there. Noticed a wire hanging across the wall. Of course, Joan Collins had a lot to do with the success of the episode. Not just a talented actress, her beauty came across without a wardrobe that was risque by today's standards. I will argue she was a strong female protagonist, without needing to body slam a man twice her size and weight. Edith Keeler was selfless, forward-thinking, and independent. She showed a limit to her charity. Would you imagine any character written today saying inside a soup kitchen, if you can't be responsible for yourself and you're a bad risk, get out? This is what makes her character memorable. Edith Keeler was ahead of her time. Let's not forget, it was she who saved Kirk. She never acted weak or helpless, with the potential to be an influential leader. Ironically, that was the problem with her character. Everything about her is wonderful and fascinating. In many Star Trek episodes, directly or not, tout the fantastic, futuristic, if not utopian, vision of the future. The episode was a little bit different. While it did showcase the marvel of medicine, it was a cause of their problems, perhaps a symbol of drug abuse. Another example of future tech was fusing Spock's tricorder with vacuum tubes. Pretty novel, if not absurd, display of diesel punk. The tricorder bears bad news, shows the price of knowing too much. Knowing too much about the future is something Edith Keeler was known for. The episode associates knowledge with danger, if not sadness. The other example of future tech comes with McCoy's phaser that the rodent lifted off of him. The rodent easily manages to overload the most irresponsibly designed phaser in Starfleet history. He vanishes in a bright light. I don't know what's more sad, his death or the fact no one in history will miss him. The City on the Edge of Forever cleverly tells its story using different tones, like shifting tempos in music. For a 50-minute episode, it's generally risky to keep shifting tones as often as it does. After setting the stakes early in the first act, it becomes a period piece drama. a comedy, a love story, before it returns to science fiction with its tragic ending, concluding the dilemma between changing history and making a future out of love. By pulling us into the world of Edith Keeler and Captain Kirk, we forget about everything else. When Edith's fate sees fruition, it's all the more shocking. We're reminded we can't, or perhaps shouldn't, change history. Perhaps it was in Shatner's contract or something, but he doesn't wear a hat. In the soup kitchen, everyone but Kirk and Edith is wearing one. Even Spock is wearing a skull cap. I'm going to have a little fun with this. This makes us look at Kirk. He's the hero, the protagonist. But Kirk is also a history-changing time traveler. Spock, on the other hand, is an observer. Spock watches reruns on his tricorder. He stood back and watched history unfold and narrates to McCoy. Speaking of McCoy, he too does not wear a hat. Like Kirk, is a history-changing time traveler himself. McCoy's version of the future literally clashes with Kirk's. They physically meet in a debate of hatless men. If we look at McCoy's scene with the rodent, notice how McCoy strips him of his hat. The Doctor is giving him a chance to change history, but Rodent declines, puts the hat back on his head, and steps out from civilization permanently. No one will notice. Could there be any other hatless men? Yes, there's the clockmaker. What does a clockmaker do? He changes the time. He's doing it right in front of us. That's why he's not wearing a hat. His partner is not a clockmaker. That's why he is. Who else doesn't wear a hat? There's this one, who locks his eyes on McCoy. The Doctor crosses the street, still recovering from his bender. There's only one explanation. You may not hear this theory anywhere else. The man in black is a time traveler too. While we discussed Joan Collins' acting abilities, let's not overlook William Shatner's performance, and most likely his best of the series. Here, he's restrained and reserved. Pay close attention to the conversation Kirk and Edith have walking together. Edith asked the captain, "Were you afraid?" Imagine anyone asking Kirk that. Kirk isn't defensive, doesn't laugh it off or mock her question. He's a different man with Edith. This is what makes her special, and the short-lived relationship she had with Kirk. We see Kirk making a decisive command decision by deliberately stopping McCoy from rescuing Edith, and his heart breaks soon after. This is why Kirk gets his Gone with the Wind moment.
Let's get the hell out of here.
Shocking the public and do-gooders everywhere. You can read online all the difficulties the episode had with its production. They make a good story considering the episode's end result. This is classic Star Trek, a high bar that many modern science fiction stories struggle to approach, let alone meet. Let me know in the comments below, what were your favorite moments of the city on the edge of forever? Do you think there were any other episodes with scenes more tragic? This is Mr. G from Synergy saying, if you can't find good luck, find happiness at least.